welcome to another Honda CB200 video. In this video I'm just going to give you a quick update on where we are right now. It has been ages excuse me, since we did some work on the bike. Absolutely ages. Work's been manic, family's been manic. Anyway, today I managed to get the swing arm and the newly made bushings back to the fabrication workshop that made them for me, because if you recall in the previous videos we established that the newly made bushings that go in the swing arm, that will end up being in this zone here between the frame here and the frame in there, were too big, and so what we had to do is make them a bit smaller. We copied identically the plastic ones that went in the swing arm, but with it being made of metal now, it doesn't deform as well as the plastic does, so we've had to go and rethink that. So we're just making it a little bit smaller. So the swing arm is with Kevin, and they're remaking the bushings, and so that should hopefully be done in 2 to 3 weeks. Give or take a bit. So what I've been doing in the meantime, I've had a few days off and I've been going through the piles of bits. So this tub contains all the bits for the 200. It's all sorts of bits, bolts, brackets, etc., springs and all sorts of bits and bobs. Also then been weeding out the stuff that is from the donor bike, which we've nicknamed Pud. So these are all the bits from the donor bike. They've all been cleaned, polished, etc., oiled, greased, cleaned, and all sorts of things. So these are all, as it were, spare parts, or part worn parts, or worn out parts, but I need to somehow see if I can fix them. These are all parts to go back on the bike. There's the hub. I think we covered that in a video a while ago. Rebuilt that. Nicely painted the indicator there on the top there. This indicator lines up with that little notch. You can just maybe make out just about there. So when this rotates, if this arrow lines up with that notch, your brake shoes are worn. What else have I been doing? Bolts, going through bolts. So these I think are the rear engine bolts off the donor bike. Then I think these are ones from the top engine bracket, and from part of front engine bracket, and then others. We then got some rubbers over here. Here are the bits for making the strap ends. If you remember, I made the strap ends a while ago. They went a bit rusty, so I've now got some stainless steel, so that's sort of in the process of being done. There's the old swing arm, this chunking great big hole in the bottom of it. So yeah, so here are the bushings. You might not be able to make out, not very clear today, but there's the bushings in there. So this is the plastic bushings, and this is being remade in a bronze bushing material. So that's being done. What else is there? Oh, just through there, had the tyre fitted on the rear wheel. So, oh, you can't see a thing in there, but assure me, back there is a new tyre on a rear wheel. I think when I did the rear wheel, I think I showed you that the hub is getting close to its wear limit, so I think we've got a wheel build coming up in the menu. But I thought I'd just stop today, and having a bit of a down about it because it's taking so long to get anywhere. But I just thought, if I cover over this part of the bike here, and maybe somewhere down there, that's looking really nice. I love how the carbs have come out with a little red lever. I love it. The black frame that I've repainted, etc. The battery box has been powder coated. The toolbox has been powder coated. I've cleaned up the regulator, I think this one is, or is this the rectifier? I think this is the regulator. Rectifier's up there somewhere. Got a new seat, that's up at the back there, ready to go on, etc. And so yeah, so the rest of it, the engine, the front, that isn't looking too good. So I might do some tinkering over the next couple of weeks, clean up some of these engine bolts in here, some engine bolts here and down here, and maybe spray some of these plates, etc., and have a bit of a tidy up there. Other news, petrol tank. Let's try and bring this forward. Bear with me. We're back in the room. So yeah, petrol tank. So I can't remember where we are with this right now. So fully stripped. It's been brazed. So that's all been brazed up at the back here. So all here's all been brazed up, etc. And I managed to get rid of the screw of doom that was around there. Managed to finally get it out. This has then been derusted and had a spray on there of derusting thing, but I'm getting to a little bit of surface rust just starting in places, so need to give it a bit more of a wipe down and a clean. This needs to have the tap put back on it, petcock, a lid put back on it, and it then needs filling up with petrol or gasoline, depending on where you are in the world, at least to covering this point here to see if there are any leaks coming from here or anywhere else. And then this can go for final sorting out and painting. In the stripping, found some dents, so a dent here and a dent here, so they'll have to do some work on that. Other news, other bits, so it's all going to fall apart. So there's the, looks a bit sort of Frankenstein monster kind of thing, doesn't it? Look at that. Check that out. Cool. So that's now been plastic welded, as it were, and all sorted out. And on the inside as well, I need to really sand that down, really. Need to do a bit more sanding on this one, get rid of the green. And on the other one, that needs all that green taken off, because they're all going to be repainted, so they're all going back to their original colour, which is closer to this kind of green here. So I will do periodic updates over the next couple of weeks as we wait for the swing arm bushings to be finished off, and I will try and tinker with things like the engine bolts at the front and that kind of stuff, some little bits of detail. As I've said before, I would love to have the space and the time to do a complete strip down and full rebuild restoration. Powder coat the frame, the works. Maybe one day. Anyway, there we are. That is a really quick update on where we are with the Honda CB200. I am still working on it. It's getting there. It's just slow. As ever, if you found this interesting or informative, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't, then obviously give it a thumbs down. I don't mind. Do leave any comments you have. If you've got any questions about the Honda CB200 that I might be able to demonstrate, tinker with, show you, etc. The front brake, which has been a really popular video, watching how to do that. Had some questions about adjusting, so do you want me to show you how to adjust the front brake? Not easy to do too much without having a back wheel, because you need to lift the front wheel up a bit so you can rotate the wheel, but I can put a block of wood or something, I can do that. Clutch adjustment, that's another adjustment thing. We obviously can't do the carbs until we actually get it running, etc. But yeah, any queries, any questions, etc., do put them in the comment. But anyway, that's me for now. Hope you've enjoyed it. Bye bye for now.